Hey guys, so today we're going to see how to scrape weather data, weather.com data, using Puppeteer and Node.js. Right? So we're going to actually scrape the 10-day weather forecast just by clicking like that, weather.com, and this particular thing. Let's see if we can scrape this. Okay. So the way to do it is this is a boilerplate code, which basically launches Puppeteer in headless mode, sends a user agent string pretending to be Macintosh, Chrome on a Macintosh, and opens a new page inside of it and navigates to the weird URL where you will find the weather. Right. So let's just copy that and paste it here again because it's been a while. All right. So then it waits for the body to load. That's wait for selector basically. And that's like the equivalent of jQuery loading, document load or whatever. So it's waiting for that, and then it goes into evaluate. That's where you're going to use your functions. Evaluate, like it's like going into the console in your Chrome and then running functions inside of it. So now let's get into it. Here is where the data is. We can query it. Let's see what it takes to do that. If I go back here and right click, you will see that everything is arranged how. So that I think is pretty simple to scrape this. Because if you look at this, all of those table rows, tr, with the class clickable, is each of those is the database that we need. And inside that, I expect td to give each different databases. There you go. Right. So let's identify each of those and separate each one of them so that we don't mix data. That's always my worry when we are scraping. So the way to do that is to use a simple function called document.body.query selector all. So document.body.query selector all tells me to select anything with a particular ID or a particular class name. So I'm going to use the class name identifier, which is a dot, and I'm going to use something for clickable. That's enough for me, right? So that's the class name. So I'm going to use clickable. That's what they called all their rows. I'm going to pull that out. I think I got the spelling wrong here. So document dot, right. So I'm going to let all of that go into some sort of variable like that. Right. We've been using RPOS from Reddit, so continue using that. So now all of this we're going to iterate through by just going to go through those posts dot I'm going to iterate through with the for each, right? For each loop, just like so. And I'm going to open that as a function in which I need the item for each. Opens up a function. There you go. Let's close that off. And inside of that is the item that I can play with. Right. So what I'll do there is see what data I can pull out from this and pass it back over here. So let's just see one piece of data that we can quickly pull out. So let's see if we can pull out the dates. Yeah, I think we can do that. If you look at this, let's see if we can pull this out. Yep. If you see, keep going down, there is a day detail in which you will find the name, the day itself, 8th Feb in this case, day detail class. So let me see if we can pull out the day detail class from this. So what we do is item dot query selector select. We don't need selector all in this case, the plural form of that. So we just, because there's only one day detail, because we isolated them into items with each row, we call posts for some reason. Uh, we're going to call it, we're going to identify it with dot day detail. That's what we saw in the HTML. Okay. And get the inner text of it. And let's pass it to think day detail as a variable. Okay, so once we have this, I like to accumulate this in an array now, right? So what I'll do is I'll just quickly declare an array here. I'm going to call it post items equals an array of that, and then I'm going to push everything into that. So I'm going to call post items, post items dot push, and in which I'm going to call an associative array. So I'm going to call it datail colon datail will be the variable for it. And now let's actually save this as weather underscore get.js, right? So what I'll do now is take the post items and pass it back out of this particular evaluate function over here by, I need a bigger array here because I'm going to pass let's say more so I'm going to still pass an array within the array and pass post items. This is just good, right? Good coding practice, because then we can pass other details from this. For example, city, that what was something else, any of those other details, maybe articles we can pass from here, coronavirus updates, and then we just pass back, return the items. Otherwise, we can just return post items itself. It will still work. But I'm going to do it like this. So let's go on results and run. So I'm going to run, sorry about that, I can't see the name, weather get, right? Weather underscore get dot js. Boom. Oops. Oh, sorry about that. Let's see if we can get at least the days. Here we go. We got it. Day detail. We got 899 like that. I think 10 or 15 of these. And now let's get other data pieces here. Let's see if we can get the description part, right? So I'm going to inspect that and span class name description. That's all we need. So I'm just going to pull out description here. So I'm just going to say description. And the class name that I want to select out of this is description. And then I'm going to pass that data back as description. It's associative name with the thing, and if I run it, it should give me description. Let's see. Pretty confident. Yes, sunny, mostly sunny. It's a pretty good place I live right now. So let's get a few more. I think there's quite a few more. Let's just copy paste this. It's pretty simple after this. So if I go to the temperature, I just inspect. What's the class name? Temp, temp. You can see that. So inside of that, whatever inner text there is, temp. Let's call it that. Good to go for me. And then temp, temp. And then let's get a few more. What about this one? The precipitation. Precipitation. Precip. You see that? Precip. Let's try that. Let's try precip. I'll keep that precip. And then I'll call it precip. Should we stop here and see if we are on the right track? So this should get us day details, description, temperature. There you go. Day detail, description, temperature, and precipitation. Right? What else do we need? Well, let's cover these. Right? Wind. Yeah. Let me guess. It will be wind in the class name. There it is. Wind. Okay. So call it wind. Wind, comma, wind, colon, wind. Right. What else we got here? and humidity should be called yeah, humidity. So I'm going to call it humidity. What fun. I think we ran out of data, so I'm just going to pull that out. We don't need that. Humidity colon humidity should give us all the data we ever need. There you go. We got wind, we got precipitation, we got detail description, temperature, wind, and humidity. All right, guys, this is the way you can scrape weather data using Puppeteer. Now, this is not enough. As usual, I always say this, you need to rotate user agents, otherwise the signature is good enough to get you blocked. Plus, you need to rotate your IP address. This one IP address will not cut it if you're doing it at production scale. We have a service which rotates IP addresses automatically using an API. So instead of calling weather.com, you're going to simply call our API endpoint api.proxiesapi.com and just pass weather.com URL over here, right? And then it will give you it will just proxy it through about a million plus 2 million proxies, residential, secure, um, private proxies, dedicated, which give high speed, and mostly very rarely do we see anything failing. So IP blocks will become a thing of the past. It's super fast because we automatically retry in case the proxies don't work for some reason. We do browser identity rotation ourselves. We do the proxy rotation, of course, and we also do captchas. We also do JavaScript rendering behind the scenes. And so you don't even need Puppeteer. Puppeteer is going to be slow because Chrome loading up, and it's very difficult to scale it. It is very limited. It occupies a lot of resources. So if you want to really scale it, we have a very scalable architecture where we can run thousands of simultaneous queries on our servers, and we will not feel anything really. And we have hundreds of clients doing um, millions per day in terms of URLs, and you can get 1,000 of them for free by just signing up. You don't need a credit card, and you'll get an API key, and you just can start using and testing this. Uh, so even otherwise, if you don't do that, there are other rotating proxy services as well. You can use them. Even otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this and learned something from this. Very, it was great fun teaching it. Thank you.